So we've grown accustomed to waking up super early in the morning. Some of you, working a true overnight shift for the last 3-4 years, and teaching these online classes, and now all of a sudden we need to switch over to more like a traditional, normal schedule. Unfortunately, this is not going to be as straightforward as just flicking a switch, but there are some techniques that we can use to make this transition a little bit easier and hopefully speed up the process for us. We want to basically reset our body clocks from the night shift to the day shift. The truth is, though, that this can be a bit challenging. Our bodies have really, sort of gotten used to waking up at these odd hours of the day, and we've adapted to it. But this is something that we can do with a little bit of planning. And the thing is that it's very, very normal for you to feel kind of out of sync, or maybe feel that kind of feeling of jet lag or even hungover. All of that is completely normal, but it is repairable. And I think it's easier to go from night shift to day shift than it is the other way around. So we're all going to be okay with this. There's basically 4 main variables that we're going to manipulate and to help us make this movement, and those are going to be sleep, light, food, and movement. Those are our main 4 variables. So let's talk about sleep first. I think everybody's a little bit different. First of all, we're in different time zones. We're all just different anyway, okay? But I think there's probably teachers fall into the 2 main categories. We have the teachers that do the biphasic sleep pattern. That means you go to bed earlier in the day or earlier in the evening, and then you probably take a nap somewhere in the day. So that's the biphasic sleep pattern. The other more common one is where you actually just sleep earlier in the day and you sleep for 8 hours, hopefully. I know a lot of people, 8 hours is hard to get. A lot of you are sleep deprived, honestly, that, and you have probably, again, you've grown accustomed to that over the years, and you are going to feel so good once you get on a normal sleep pattern, and you're going to be treating yourself well. And a lot of the maybe some of the health challenges that you've had over the last few years, such as weight gain being one of the more predominant ones, is actually going to suddenly become a lot easier to manage. So you'll probably thank yourself for this later, and it's all going to turn out great. So let's talk about the sleep. Like I said, with the sleep, for those of you, there's kind of 2 main ways to tackle this. The first one is to shorten that daytime nap. For those of you that are taking that nap during the day, is you want to make that shorter. So for example, for those of you that were teaching up till 10 a.m., there were some of you like that, right? I kind of forget how the hours on the East Coast go, but those of you that were teaching up until whatever time you got off, depending on where you were, and then you would do your stuff around the house that you had to do, and then you would probably take like a 4 or 5 hour nap somewhere in there, maybe shorter. So you're going to want to shorten that nap. You want to shorten it by, we're going to say, an hour at first, and make sure that when that alarm goes off or whatever, that you get up. Don't hit the snooze alarm. Don't do anything like that. Now once you wake up, the first thing you're going to do is get a nice blast of natural sunlight. Okay, we talked about light. Okay, so that's going to be a huge factor for us. The sunlight is really the number 1 cue for us to be awake during the daytime hours. Okay, now the other one, the other technique really is to just go ahead and just stay awake as long as you can, and then go to bed in the evening, hopefully around 9 p.m. So, kind of pick your poison there. Which one's better, which one's worse, I don't know. I'll tell you, people that you can ask that really would probably have a lot of insight and experience on this, if you have any friends that are nurses. Okay, nurses are the original OGs when it comes to shift work and switching those schedules. They work different types of rotating schedules. They really are way more awesome than even us at doing that. They really, really are. So anyway, that's how you want to do it. Once you get to that point that you have your last night shift, or when you're ready to make that movement. I know some people hope to continue to teach a little bit in September, and my hope is that you'll get to do that. So that is sleep. We want to really manage our sleep. Obviously, that's the most important thing. Light is very, very important. Like I say, when you wake up in the morning, make sure you get a big blast of that daylight. Make sure you're getting it. Likewise, in the evening, you're going to want to use your blue blockers if you have them, or you want to use those screen protectors that are going to have they're going to reduce the blue light. we want to minimize the blue light before we go to bed. So we don't want a whole bunch of electronics right before bed, or if you do, use some type of blue blockers in the evening to kind of help you sleep. Now there's a whole lot of tips out there as far as sleep. Those aromatherapy, I don't know, play some music, temperature, make sure it's nice and cool. There's all sorts of things you can do to help you sleep, but I'm not going to go too in depth into that stuff. Now, food. We talk about food. You want to get, now, again, back on a normal eating pattern. What does that mean? You're going to eat healthy foods. Again, we don't want to eat a bunch of junk food. That's not going to help us sleep. We want to eat healthy whole foods. We want to eat those during what you would probably consider traditional eating hours during the days, your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Or you can eat, small healthy snacks throughout the day, but, try to limit eating right before bed or late at night or in the middle of the night. Try to get out of that habit. You might find yourself getting hungry at 3 a.m. because you're used to having a nice meal right before you teach. Let's not do that, and go ahead and have that meal later in the daytime, okay, when the sun's out, when the sun's up. Eat when the sun is up. Movement. So movement is another really important one, and so we're going to talk about kind of a couple of different things. Now, one thing is that can help keep you up during the day, which you might be tired because you're used to sleeping, is to make a to-do list. Make some plans with people. Make some, maybe schedule a haircut or something that you can't really cancel, or you don't want to cancel. That way you have some type of obligation to do this and to stay awake and to help motivate you to do that. I know a lot of you wonderful people are busy enough as it is, and that'll be no problem. But yes, make a to-do list. Come up with something that you can do. Meet with friends, meet with family, talk to people, socialize during the day. Maybe go outside and see what all the what all the people have been doing all these years that we've been sleeping. Okay, so next up is exercise. Of course, exercise is healthy for us. I think you should exercise later in the day, not right before bed, but later, closer to the evening. After between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. in my opinion would be good for a couple of reasons. Again, it might give you a little pick-me-up right at that time, but yet it'll make you be a little more tired later in the evening and thus ready for bed. There's probably an infinite amount of tips that we could give. Those are really just a few. Like I say, your normal sleep tips will work for helping you get to sleep. Not really going to suggest any type of sleep aids as far as medicines and things like that. Melatonin, that's again not a sleeping pill, it's a hormone, so be careful with taking that type of stuff. Maybe talk to a doctor or something before you do that, but just be kind to yourself, be gentle on yourself. It might take a little bit to do that. Stay off social media so much that you don't cause yourself anxiety, especially right now, wondering about what's happening, what's going on in China. We kind of get it, but anyway, those are just some quick tips. Stay healthy and stay positive. For your new great adventure, whatever you're going to be doing next. It's going to be fantastic, and just keep your focus on the future and all these wonderful new adventures that you're going to have, and especially all this great sleep that you're going to be catching up on. Now you get the opportunity to sleep during normal hours, and that is very healthy for you. We've all been living in a way that our biological clocks have been disrupted, so this is a healthy, good change. You don't want to work that type of night shift for longer than you have to. So this is going to be a good, healthy change for a lot of people. Maybe needed for a lot of people. Others, maybe there are night owls out there that would prefer to be up all night anyway. But try to take care of yourself. Try to take care of that sleep. Again, don't fret if it's a little difficult. That is very, very normal for you to really feel out of it and maybe disoriented, and you're going to wake up at 3 a.m. even though you've been used to, you get used to waking up at the same time, and your body clock starts doing that. But if you use some of these cues, the daylight during the day hours, and just keep yourself awake, when you're supposed to be awake, you can make the transition a little bit more smoother. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.